Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the fabulous Woodrow Wilson Senior High School. Let's give the principal and all the teachers and staff here at Wilson a big, big round of applause. I want to thank all of you for being here as well. This is our third series of budget engagement meetings. It's hard to believe, but this is the third budget that I will be presenting to the Council of the District of Columbia. And we've been pretty engaged in budget season for the last couple of months. And we look forward to hearing from you as we put shape and fine points around our budget. So I think you know why we are doing these engagement forums. You know, I was on the council for almost 8 years, and in my time on the council, I would be very frustrated at the whole process because the mayor would work with all of the agency directors, put the budget together, submit the budget to the council, and then go out to the community to ask the community to support it. But we hadn't had, the mayor didn't have the advantage of having all that input. So people would come down to the council and demand that everything be changed around, when at that point, it's really very difficult to make wholesale changes. So what we have done, our city administrator goes to all of the agency directors in the late fall, October, November. We tell them where we think all the revenues are and what the budget mark should be, and ask the agency directors to begin to put together their budgets. Then we they talk to the city administrator and make presentations to me, which they will begin to do next week. So it's so important that we understand where all of your priorities are before we have that discussion. We take your comments very seriously. I think you will know that in my past 2 budgets, we have focused on some major priority areas. I made some promises around affordable housing, and I am very proud that in each of my 2 previous budgets, we have committed $100 million to the Housing Production Trust Fund, but more than that, we've also gotten those dollars out. We made unprecedented investments in our public schools, the biggest public education budgets in the history of the District of Columbia, not only for buildings, because we want all of our buildings to be as beautiful as this one, but also we've invested in the growing school-age population that we have in the District of Columbia. And that is very good news for our city, where more and more families trust our public education system. And we're looking forward to making a very significant investment this year too. We also put more money into jobs, into training, into helping people get better jobs. And it is paying off. In the last 2 years, we have seen a decrease in unemployment in the District of Columbia by a full 1.8%, and that's significant. It's very significant. But even more significant is that we have seen 3 percentage point decreases in unemployment in wards 7 and 8, where we have had the most significant unemployment issues in our city. And we're very, very proud of that. We're also focused on making sure that we're protecting the values of Washington, D.C. in this budget. I recognize fully the heightened anxieties that we feel as Americans and certainly as Washingtonians, because we don't know the investment that the federal government will continue to have in programs and services that are important to us. And so we will spend some time talking about how we can protect those values that are so dear to us for public education and health care, in protecting our environment and making sure we remain an inclusive and diverse city that protects all of our residents, and how we will make the investments in public safety necessary to keep our city safe and strong. So those are so important. One part of these sessions that I love the most most is that you're going to do exactly what we have to do as the government. You do it every month in your own households anyway, right? You have to balance the budget. There's a certain amount of money coming in and there's a certain amount of money having to go out. And then you think of new things that you want to do for your family, right? Maybe last year you went to the beach for vacation. Maybe this year you want to go to Paris. These are the new initiatives, right? Or in some cases, unfortunately, you may have had last year an unexpected event in your life that reduced the amount of income that you have coming in, but your expenses weren't necessarily reduced. So you have to make some adjustments in that way as well. You may decide, well, I want to go to Paris twice. So in addition to having the one job, you may think about having a side job or business so that you can increase your family revenue to take care of the new initiatives that you want to get accomplished. Well, that's the same thing we do. We have a certain amount of money coming in. And I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, last quarter, when we ended 2016, it was the best quarter fiscally in the history of the District of Columbia. All of our numbers were moving in the right direction. And that's important to say. And a lot of people have worked long and hard so that the mayor of Washington, D.C. can say that we are a fiscally strong city. But we also have to be fiscally smart. So if we raise revenues, we should invest those revenues in things that spin off to the benefit of our economy. And that's the way I approach budgeting. Actually, I think about the $13 billion that we already collect. And I say, that's a lot of money for 680,000 people. So how can we best use those dollars? And part of what the agency directors have been doing the last couple of months is looking at what they have and figuring out how they can use it better. And then we ask them to come up with new initiatives. And put them all on the table. And then we will decide, we will debate each other to figure out how best to serve our priorities, protect our values, and deliver for the residents of the District of Columbia. So I am very, very pleased to see you all here. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the Wilson Tigers are champions. I hear they won a big game last night. Let's hear it for the Wilson Tigers. And that was in basketball. I think the swimmers won another big championship. And also, they have track stars here. So in addition to being very focused on their academics, they are committed to being well-rounded students. And before I turn the program over to our budget team, I wanted to acknowledge our new Chancellor of Schools, Antoine Wilson, who I believe is here. And there's Antoine. Let everybody see you, Antoine. And I also want to acknowledge my nominee for the police chief of the Metropolitan Police Department, Peter Newsham, who is here. Let's give Peter Newsham a big round of applause as well. So with that, we're gonna talk some about how we make this budget, what the major components are, and I believe Matt Brown, who is my budget director, and Wayne Turnage, who runs our Department of Healthcare Finance, will be speaking to you now. Matt.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everyone. As the mayor said, my name is Matt Brown. I have one of the best jobs in DC government, and I get to work on what you're going to work on tonight all year long. Of course, I like numbers and I like Excel spreadsheets, but even more important is what we do with those dollars and how those dollars that we spend every day, every month, impact the lives of district residents. I'm a district resident, just like you. I live here, I pay taxes, I rely on DC for services, and that's why tonight is so important to me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our budget process and then give you a little budget 101 to help you complete your exercise tonight. So the slide that you see here, and if you can't see it, I'm going to talk through it anyway, represents our budget cycle. And as the mayor said, a couple months ago, we worked with all of our agency directors, and they submitted their lists of priorities to us. They submitted to a budget number that I gave them, of course. And tonight we're here to hear from you. And like the mayor said, she wants this input before the budget goes to the council. So over the next couple weeks, I'll be spending a lot of time with the mayor, the city administrator. We will be taking into account all the input that we receive from you, and at the other two forums that we're going to hold, the submissions from our agency directors. And on April 4th, the mayor is going to deliver her budget to the city council. Council has hearings on the budget. All the agencies come forward and they testify. There are opportunities for public comment at those hearings as well. After the council will make hopefully some just minor changes to the budget because it's going to be so good when we give it to them. But when that is when that legislation is passed, the mayor signs it, and then the budget's enacted. The local budget is enacted with mayor's signature. The federal portion still goes up to Capitol Hill for congressional review. And then we move into the green section. It says agency allotment. What does that mean? Allotment is the budget that gets loaded into our financial system, and that means the agencies can start spending. They do that on October 1 when our fiscal year begins. And then they disperse funds and make expenditures like keep the lights on in Woodrow Wilson High School or make improvements at community centers and other district assets. One of the things that the mayor has done, and this is represented in the yellow portion, is that she's really strengthened the relationship between my office, the budget office, and the Office of Performance. We want to make sure that the money that we're spending is accomplishing what we want it to. And so I want to tell you about a couple things that we've done. In our Office of Unified Communications, last year, the mayor made an investment in the Learn, Earn, Advance, and Prosper program. And that had a significant impact on 311 calls. Now we answer almost 84% 311 calls in 90 seconds. A year ago, it was only 40%. So through a budget investment, we were able to provide job opportunities to LEAP participants and increase the service that we provide to members of the public. EMS reform, fire and emergency medical service. Through a budget investment in a third-party ambulance, we've shaved 14 seconds off our first responders' time to reach those who call. Homelessness services, because of investments that we made last year in permanent supportive housing and other programs, the number of homeless veterans has fallen by 13% from December 2015 to 2016. So you can really see the kinds of investments that we talk about and we put in the budget have real-life impact on all of us. So the next thing I'm going to do is tell you a little bit about our budget, and so that you have some tools to participate in the conversation tonight. As you see on this slide, there's a big bubble that represents our operating budget, $13.5 billion. It's a lot of money. About $3 billion of that is federal money that comes to us in a way it comes to any other state in the union. And then the remaining is locally generated money that we use for all the things that keep government operating. Teacher salaries, trash pickup, all the programs that we provide. It pays for our day-to-day operations, everything that we do. The smaller bubble, $1 billion, it's still a significant amount, pays for what we call capital improvements. Those are the things that we build. Just like the budget for Woodrow Wilson High School a few years ago was part of that capital budget because we came in, made the investments, and made this such a beautiful space. I mentioned the federal money, $3.4 billion, is represented there, and then the capital infrastructure. We're going to focus tonight on the local money that is generated through property sales and income taxes, all the money that's generated by you. It's about $7.5 billion. So in the subsequent slides, you're going to see representations of the district budget. And I wanted to make sure you understand $13 billion is the entire pie, includes our federal portion, includes things like DC Water. But $7.5 billion is property sales and income tax, and that's the money that we're going to mainly focus on tonight. This is the categories that you will be working through tonight, and I want to talk a little bit about those. First, you'll see education, $2.1 billion. That's what we spend on public and charter schools, the DC Public Library, University of the District of Columbia, all of our efforts to educate people, both young and old. Next, health and human services. Those are things like homelessness services, unemployment compensation, child and family services. The next, $1.4 billion, government operations, retirement costs, and others. Those are the costs to operate the government, and it may include some things that you may not have thought of. Of course, it pays for the council and the mayor, the attorney general, those sorts of operations, but it also pays for Department of Public Works, your trash pickup, DDOT, all the transportation operations, school crossing guards. It pays for our contribution to WMATA that we make every year, Department of Motor Vehicles, all the things that keep government operating. The next orange, $1.1 billion in public safety. The major expenditures in that area are fire and EMS and our Metropolitan Police Department. The next, as I continue around clockwise, housing. $186 million on housing efforts. The big one in this portion is $100 million to the Housing Production Trust Fund. It also includes things like Home Purchase Assistance Program and other efforts to make housing more affordable. And then finally, $150 million for jobs and economic opportunity. That's where we pay for the arts, the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development, who works to attract and retain companies to the District of Columbia, and unemployment compensation. So that's a little bit about how the $7.5 billion that we raised through property sales and income is split today. And one of the things we're going to ask you to do as part of the exercise is tell us how you would spend the same dollar, but we want to make sure you knew how we spend it today as a foundation. Next thing I want to do is turn this over to Wayne Turnage, who's going to give you a little bit more detail about initiatives in each of those areas.
Thank you, Dan. Good evening. My name is Wayne Turnage. As Matt stated, my goal tonight is to highlight some of the major functional areas of the mayor's budget and discuss how these areas really track to the values that she has established for her administration that reflect both her priorities and the priorities of the residents of the district. As you're aware, in November of last year, the country selected its 45th president, and for the first time since 2009, the majority control in both houses of the Congress and the White House are under the same political banner. Since that time, the mayor has been asked on a number of occasions how she plans to react to what will certainly be a new national agenda, one that seeks to reset and redefine the relationships between the federal government, the states, and local governments in ways that, frankly, might not be entirely beneficial to our interests. Given the absence of some of the details of how this might play out, there's much that we don't know at this time. However, the mayor has been very clear on this point. The district's core values were established outside of the shadows of the last election, and they are immutable. So we are prepared to stand up for and protect DC's values. In the coming months, we will likely have to make some tough choices, but rest assured, the values that reflect the priorities of the mayor, her administration, and of Washingtonians will provide the foundation and core for the budget proposal that she submits to the council. So now to get a sense of how we've prioritized our funds in the past, I will just want to review at a very high level some of the highlights of last year's budget. It's been mentioned that there were 3 meetings last year in which the mayor got similar feedback on what the top priorities were for the city. The residents said they were jobs, housing, and education. While the core responsibility of government cuts across multiple functions, there is no more important investment that we can make than of our public dollars than the education that we spend, the dollars that we spend to educate the residents of DC. Education is the linchpin of this society. It is the detonator that ignites the intellectual spark of our children. It's the fuel that feeds the district's engine of economic growth, and the seed which gives life to the virtue of tolerance, an asset that is so necessary in this wonderful city, which is multiracial and multicultural, probably more so than any city that I have witnessed. And as you can see from the screen beside me, last year the mayor made unprecedented investments in education for our children and young adults. The investments were targeted to children at the earliest stages of their formative years, all through their maturation as young adults. Recognizing that we have a important obligation to educate our citizenry because it generates benefits that accrue to each ward of the city. This mayor is committed to a strong educational investment that will not change. So accordingly, you can anticipate that in her next budget, education will continue to consume the largest share of local spending. A fundamental strength of the mayor's commitment to the district's core values can be seen in the investments that she has made to protect the interests of those among us who live on the economic margins, those whose quality of life is dependent upon the access to basic benefits that many of us take for granted, but which they struggle to secure. The mayor embraces the notion that access to health care and safe, affordable housing are vital building blocks on the pathway to the middle class. Last year, in support of this value, the mayor committed over $1.1 billion in local funds to the district's social safety net. These investments funded food for our seniors, emergency and long-term housing solutions for those without a safe place to live, and a full range of primary, secondary, and tertiary state-of-the-art service, especially healthcare services, for over 40% of the district's residents. There is, however, now an emerging cloud of uncertainty about the future of the healthcare safety net and how that will impact the investment opportunities that this mayor can make. Due to a rather improbable outcome in last year's election and a promise of change that holds some rather ominous underpinnings, there is much that hangs in the balance. But our values, as the mayor has stated, are unchanged. So expect significant investments in this critical area in the mayor's fiscal year 2018 budget proposal and an aggressive future advocacy to ensure that all of the progress that the district has made in building a strong social safety net will not be inverted. Public safety. Over the past 2 years, total crime in DC has dropped 9%. In 2016 alone, we saw a 10% decrease in all of violent crime citywide, with a 17% reduction in homicides and a 13% reduction in robberies. These results did not just happen. They took a sustained, coordinated effort from multiple agencies working with the community. Public safety is a community-wide effort, and the mayor's investments in these areas are summarized on the screens beside me. They cover both traditional and diverse public safety initiatives, police officers, 911 services, fire and emergency medical services. But together, they reflect our values to build a safer and stronger city. Clearly, one of the most talked about issues in DC is housing. Washington, DC is, as you know, a thriving city. Our economy is strong, and our population growth is the largest that this city has witnessed in over 40 years. But with this growth comes some difficult challenges. Since entering office, the mayor has made it a top priority to ensure that more residents from all backgrounds can afford to live in Washington, D.C. Through significant investments for the Housing Production Trust Funds of $100 million in successive years, as well as other affordable housing initiatives, the mayor has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to creating and preserving affordable housing. This money is used to ensure that the benefits of neighborhood development accrue to people across all income ranges. We help seniors age at home, we fund rental assistance, housing vouchers, and we infuse new communities with capital funding. If a city is to prosper, its leaders must embrace opportunities for economic growth. However, our unchanging values hold that this growth must not be blind to the housing needs of those of limited or modest income. Jobs and economic opportunity. We all know that the DC economy is strong. We see in the skyline, we count the cranes. We see that our economy is doing very well. But how do we ensure that our growth is responsible and not reckless? We do it through targeted investments in small and local businesses, workforce development, the arts, and the support of tenant rights. In addition, we use the fruits of economic growth to expand the reach of the Summer Youth Employment Program in ways previously unseen, now connecting over 10,000 young Washingtonians with meaningful employment opportunities throughout the summer. The last issue that I want to touch on is government operations. Now, don't get up and run out of the room. This doesn't sound very exciting, but it can be. It is also incredibly important. We use this money to keep our infrastructure strong, our streets clean, and our agencies functioning. We also use it to protect the rights of our residents. In DC, we value diversity and inclusivity, and we want to ensure that when we have legislation that reflects those values, people are required and willing to follow these laws. These funds will help ensure that all of those values are appropriately addressed. Now we return to DC's values. As you talk to the people at your table tonight, we really want you to start thinking about these values in the context of the mayor's budget. In the coming months, the city will have to make some very difficult choices that may only get more difficult in future years. Absent new resources, if there are significant reductions in federal funds, this will, by necessity, precipitate local budget cuts in the district. And when it comes to making these decisions, we want to make sure that we have considered all of our options and that we are doing everything we can to support the residents of DC and the protection of our DC values. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for your patience as we get started. Now you're chock full of budget information, right? And you're ready to make some tough decisions. So you've got a facilitator at every single table. If the facilitators could raise your hands. Terrific. You should have already introduced yourself to that person, and they should have already introduced themselves to you. They know all about what we're about to do here. And what we're about to do is you now have $100. And the mayor wants to know how you would prioritize the spending of that $100. And so the facilitator is going to walk you through a little bit of an exercise. But you're going to talk with your table for the next, I'll give you 25 minutes, about what your priorities are, about all those DC values that you just heard about, and where you want to prioritize spending the district's budget. So good luck, and let's go.
Good evening, everyone. You are in the midst of rich conversation. I was lucky enough to stand next to a table to listen in. My name is Jenny Niles. I'm the Deputy Mayor for Education in DC, and I do have the best job. The education cluster, as Matt referenced before, includes a lot of our critical agencies in the city. DC Public Schools, and thank you to Wilson and Principal Martin for letting us be here. We also have the Office of the State Superintendent of Education. We have the public charter schools. We have the Department of Parks and Rec. We have libraries, and we have the University of the District of Columbia. What I also want to say is that the passion that I have seen around this room for advocating for education, whether you're a teacher or a parent or affiliated with the schools, I have to say, I doubt whether any other cluster has the level of passion and advocacy. Now, that was a little bit of throwing out to see if there would be a little competition about how much advocacy we have for education. But I also wanted to just acknowledge that we are making progress in education, but we have a long way to go. As you know, everything that we're doing is to make sure that we have success for every single one of our kids in the city. And we have outstanding schools, but not every single one of our kids is yet experiencing that success. And so when I think of the budget process, that's what we in the education cluster are devoted to. I also want to just acknowledge that if we get things right in education, all the other clusters get easier in terms of public safety, health, and all of the other things. So I just want to, I know that we have a big weight that we're carrying on our shoulders, and look forward to hearing from the various tables about your interests, your questions, your passion for the agencies in the education cluster.
When I advocate for public safety, I actually do advocate for if we prevent violence, we have to invest in mental health services, public health, education, jobs, and housing. And so I see a direct tie between how well we deliver for our residents in those areas and making the city safer. However, there are also some agencies in public safety. Police department, the fire EMS department, the DC jail, our Office of Unified Communication, which does 911 calls and 311 calls. We have a crime lab that provides evidence to both defense attorneys and prosecutors, and a medical examiner. And the one thing I'd have you think about with the budget is think about how many more people we have in DC now than we did 5 years ago, 15 years ago, how many more jobs that we have of people coming in here, and what the demand is for those core services. We've had 911 calls for both police and fire, and particularly EMS, have increased much faster than our population has. For about 15 years, up until 2015, the city for 15 years put out the same number of ambulances on the street every day. We hadn't hired new 911 call takers in 8 years. So when you think about public safety there, I think about what are some of the core services that a city has an obligation to follow through to for a city that's growing, for a city where people have needs, and when you think about the agencies in public safety. Thank you very much.
I am Brian Kenner. I am the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. You will see on your chart here, economic development is the lowest funded cluster out of every single cluster that's out there. Education, public safety, and some other things. What I want to say is really twofold. One, jobs and economic opportunity are really how we make sure that people have a fair shot in the District of Columbia. Providing opportunities, work opportunities to people, providing opportunities for them to advance, providing amenities for communities, that is how we change Washington, D.C. Moreover, the second thing is around housing. I know I heard very clearly at my table, there was a person who would have devoted 100% of the budget to housing. Affordable housing is a significant issue in the city. This mayor is the first mayor to not only commit $100 million, but to actually invest $100 million a year in affordable housing. And you know what? As our table said, we still need more. We still need more affordable housing. So my request, if it's possible to you all, is to take us from 3% for housing and 1% of jobs and economic development, at least double us. Please, baby, 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 please. Pretty please, pretty please, pretty please. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Andy Reese. I'm the Director of the Department on Disability Services. I'm here this evening on behalf of the Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services. And I do see that we take up a larger part of that pie, but we are really the vital cluster of agencies within the district government that ensures that we continue to have a safety net. We include 8 different agencies that provide supports to the most vulnerable district residents. The mayor spoke about, and we've heard about the values of the district, and the district really does ensure and has a value of ensuring that our most vulnerable residents are cared for. And so that includes, we have the Department of Health that provides preventive health care, ensures that we have a safe environment, a safe city to live in, Department of Behavioral Health that supports people with mental health needs. Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services, caring for our vulnerable youth who need some assistance staying on the right track and moving into successful adulthood. We have my agency, the Department on Disability Services. We work with people with disabilities to help those people, one, obtain employment, get the training they need so that they can, like every other district resident, like what the mayor supports, move to onto that pathway to the middle class, regardless of their abilities. And also, we support people with intellectual disabilities so that they can continue to have lives in our community and be vital parts of our community. We work with the Office on Aging. I want to make sure I don't miss any of and the Child and Family Services Agency, which really supports the most vulnerable of our citizens. So as I say, this is the safety net, and as we think about the changes that occurred in our last election, and as people said earlier, we don't know what that's going to mean in terms of the changes in the federal government, but it is vital that we continue as district residents to demonstrate, I can't leave out since Wayne spoke before me, DHCF, our Medicaid agency, that not only ensures we have Medicaid, but also health insurance for immigrants and for children. And we need to ensure that this safety net is in place. And regardless of the federal decisions that are made, that as a district, we continue to support our residents. Thanks.
Pretty impassioned pitches, as I call them, from our deputy mayors. And so now you've shared your individual priorities with your table. It's time to put together a table budget. So now, as a table, you have $100. How are you going to compromise and come up with that budget? I've heard some very fresh ideas from table number 2, but I know that we're going to hear from even more of you soon. So you've got about 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Falchicchio, and I get the tough job of trying to call on some tables to tell us what your table picked. So for the time being, let's wrap up our budgets, our table budgets, and let's select someone who can represent the table. Can everybody do that? Is everybody done? Are there any tables that aren't done? All right, well, we could get started. Which table wants to go first and tell us what their table budget was? Are there any tables that want to do it? Are there any tables that want to tell everyone how their budget? I actually did see the first one that I saw a hand pop up was number 14. So why don't we go to 14 to hear how they spent their $100?
My name's Hannah. I live in Ward 4. We had a lot of fun at our table. Oh, thank you. One of the reasons is because we worked with a budget of $120. We want to see more revenue. We want to stopping automatic tax cut triggers. Yeah, that's what we want. And we want to see that money go into affordable housing, $150 million for the Housing Production Trust Fund, as well as permanent supportive housing. And homeless services, and fully funding the universal paid leave bill that was just passed. Startup funding, one-time cost, that's what we want to see. That's really important for our city. I think we also talked about education and a lot of how the investments that we're making in things like homeless services, in things like paid family and medical leave, are investments to be able to lower other costs here. So we talked a lot about investments and how all these things are really connected. And that's what we got.
Yeah, after a couple. Fantastic. So it seemed like, so you raised some revenue. Yes. Did any other tables do that? Wow. A couple. Wait, which tables raised revenue?
Put your hands up.
Broke the rules of the game, but it's okay. Raised revenue. Let's see from another one of those tables, not to reward bad behavior, but table 7.
Hi, my name is Michelle. I live in Ward 1 in Mount Pleasant. We also broke the rules a little bit, but we only increased our revenue to 110 with the same as you all did by ending the automatic tax cuts. So we really thought that education is a priority. So we increased education funding up to 35. We paid for that, we maintained public safety at 16. We quadrupled jobs and economic opportunity to 4, in particular to pay for implementation of the Universal Paid Leave Act. We doubled housing funding also to increase the Housing Production Trust Fund. We cut a little bit off of government operations down to 19, and then we raised Health and Human Services up to 30, particularly for long-term homelessness services. And that gave us 110 total.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ty Hobson-Powell. I'm from Ward 4. All right, so we stayed within the 100. We didn't cheat. But what we did was we placed an emphasis on education with $20 because we feel like that's definitely a core area. $10 on public safety because in light of the statistics, we feel like you're doing a good job. You don't necessarily need any more. I feel like maybe best practices could be employed to sort of lower that crime rate, but as far as funding, we're good. Jobs and economic opportunity, 25. You look at youth, absolutely, let's give a clap to that. You know, from youth to the re-engagement population, what we have is a lot of people that are running races with no finish line. And jobs and economic opportunity provides some defining characteristics to that race that they're running. And so that's why we place that as our heaviest area of emphasis. 20 on housing, because of course that's very important. $10 on government operations, because we want to sort of, as we're employing these best practices, to lower that price. And then last, 15 on health and human services, because that safety net touches all other aspects, education, public safety, all those sort of things. So that was our numbers. Thank you.
Fantastic. So 25 for jobs and economic development. Deputy Mayor Kenner, good job on your pitch. So we said next we would go over to table 10. So table 10 over here on the right side as I face.
John, we got to go to 9 next because they actually came in under budget.
Oh, they came in under. Okay. All right, 10, then 9.
All right, I'm Jim Nash. I live in Ward 4, and we stayed with $100, but that's 100%. Even if you have more money, you still have 100%. So I don't think that makes a lot of difference. We didn't talk about keeping more taxes, but we could do that. All right. Number one, we doubled the money for housing. That was our number one priority here. And the argument is that, first of all, some of that needs to go to senior services. We're a very strong advocate for that here. But also, the idea is that by putting people into housing, you're going to help reduce costs elsewhere. And for that reason, we took a little money off of education because, as a teacher at our table recognized, you can do a better job educating people if the children are not homeless. We also took 2% off public safety because we'll have safer neighborhoods if people are housed. We added 1.5% to jobs and economic opportunity because there's a strong view that we need to train people who are being left behind, and that is also related to the homelessness problem. We slightly reduced government operations to 20.5%, in part to help fund these other things. And then we took 1% off health and human services, again, assuming that housing is health care. And so by spending more on housing, we'll be able to save money there. This has been shown with the Housing First model. You actually save money by doing the right thing and putting people into housing. And here's
Thank you. So my name is Joe Herbert. I live in Ward 4 and I teach math here at Wilson High School. And it was definitely a little bit of a challenge and discussion to talk about taking money away from education as a teacher, particularly when we were now in our 5th year without a contract. And the district has just been dragging its feet. Most recently, Mayor Bowser gave a contract proposal which was wholly inadequate. And last night in an emergency meeting, 300 WTU members unanimously rejected it. And so we are hoping that with this new budget, we will be able to see the investment in students that comes from investing in teachers. And I think that part of why, even when we're in these contract negotiations, I felt okay reducing the amount of money for education because we have a very top-heavy central office. We spend money on lots and lots of things that are maybe not as crucial. So thank you very much.
Well, Well, thank you, Table 10, and thank you for your work that you do every day. Let's go over to Table 9.
Hi, my name is Marguerite. I live in Ward 3. And our table came up with some interesting ideas. Just to let you know, our priorities are housing and health and human services. And for housing, we brought to everyone's, well, we talked about how there are a lot of vacant units in the city, and there are a lot of vacant blighted properties in the city. And we felt that there could be better, that's an opportunity to find more affordable housing, to develop affordable housing for folks by the city taking over those properties, whether it's through before things get to tax sale or special deed, whatever it is that you have to do, you have the eminent domain, you can do that and take over those units and get them to people who need them. And for health and human services, we all agreed that there are numerous services that people need, and you just can't get away from it. Whether it's seniors, whether it's children, these are services that are necessary, and you need to make sure that people get what they need when they need it. With all the other priorities, we felt they were priorities, but we had some of the same concerns that some others had brought up, like with education, public safety, jobs, and economic opportunity. Yes, those are important, but we have to think about whether or not those functions are being managed properly, whether there is top-heavy administration, whether some fat could be cut so that you get down to the service level and getting those programs functioning the way they should. So we didn't think putting more money was going to improve that. That has to be that's a management and leadership issue. So with that, we ended up with $95. So we had this $5 surplus, and we thought, once all these efficiencies are brought about and the programs are running properly, why not reward those programs or those functions with like a performance award? Give them the additional money to do additional things or provide additional services if they're actually running a tight ship and they're meeting their performance goals. Use that as a way to incentivize even better performance and expanding on those services and those activities. So that was our idea. So, yes.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Table 9. That was an interesting way to go about it. And I think that's the only table that stayed under budget. So let's do one final table. One final table. So does anybody else want to tell their $100?
Hi, my name is Hannah. Our table really prioritized housing and education. We put 25 for housing. That was something that a lot of us came up with as sort of a top priority for very similar reasons as other people have mentioned, including the fact that we can then reduce our budget on things like public safety, because it's been shown that when we have permanent supportive housing and put housing first, that we lower our recidivism rates and also the need for emergency services, both medical and legal. So that was definitely most important to a lot of people at the table. And then also education, investing in sort of this earlier development in people's ability to then be employed, have stable lives, and also contribute to giving back to all of these other areas. So those were the top things for us. We also wanted to maintain health and human services, as those are a very important operating function. Yes, thank you. And then we gave 50 cents to statehood.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Give yourselves a round of applause to all the tables. I got a chance to talk to a lot of you and hear your thinking, and I appreciate you being so thoughtful. I think you get a taste of the tough job that we have. One person told me, well, obviously we're going to fund all these things, and that's true, we do. But each year we're thinking about the new things that we need to do, as well as the things that we can do differently or better. So those things are also very important. We got some ideas around additional revenue. I heard from a few tables. We heard a lot about increasing what we're going to do around housing and ending homelessness. We heard a lot about education. We heard about new programs, about startup for UPL and other new programs as well. So you can see that we have our work cut out for us. So I just want to thank you, and I want to thank my entire team for putting together this great session. We're going to be together again on Saturday in Ward 7. Correct? Or is that Columbia Heights? Saturday at DOES headquarters, and again on Monday at the Columbia Heights Education Campus. So once again, thank you very much. And to all of our directors and cabinet officials, if you could just raise your hand so everybody can see you. I want to thank all of the Bowser administration officials who are here and thank them. And I can stick around for a few minutes at the front if there are individual questions that you have. Thank you, everybody.